Welcome back! So, here we are, brand new episode of What I Got this week. Now, I gotta say, this is kind of an interesting special episode because this is the first episode that is no Batman. There's no Batman. There's no Batman toy. There's no Batman comic book. There's no Batman movie. This is a Batman-free episode. So, having said that, welcome to a brand new episode. My name is Dan. This is my office. I'm going to share with you what I got this week. And, of course, I have my top 5 comic books of the week. I'm going to have my classic comic review. I'm going to have a toy review. Pretty short week, but that's what I got for this week. I think we're getting ready for an extra jam-packed Valentine's Day episode coming up next week. And also in the future, I'm thinking of doing a Q&A episode. So if you have any questions, whether it be comic book related, toy related, pop culture related, movie related, whatever, ask them down below. Let me know. So, first of all, everyone, I want to say that top 5 comic books this week was especially difficult. There were some really good issues this week, and we have a kind of an interesting mix. So, to begin with, here are the top 5 issues of the week. Number 5 for this week, we have a new issue. We have number 1 from Image Comic Books called Vindication. Now, this is, to put it basically, this is a kind of a crime story. That involves the story of a young man who was sent to jail. He comes out of jail. Should have been in a life prison. However, something happened. He's out early. The detective is convinced that whatever horrible crime, we don't know exactly the details of it, whatever horrible crime he did, he needs to go back in jail for. And at the beginning right now, it's basically like a simple cat and mouse, kind of a criminal comic book. You don't know exactly who's guilty. You don't exactly know who's innocent. It's a good start-off issue, and I like getting support of the indie comic books. Image isn't that indie, let's be honest. They've been around for a very long time. But compared to DC and Marvel, they very much are. So, Vindication number 1. Try it out this week. Next up, Image has another one. Now, this is one of their long-running titles. It's a great one. I'm talking about The Walking Dead. Now, this Walking Dead, number 188, what happens here is very different from what's happening in the TV show. In the TV show, we have them barely now getting to the Whisperers and the Whisperer War with Alpha and the control of the Walkers. This is way beyond that. At this particular one, we have a new settlement. We have to deal still with the aftermath of the death of Dwight. We have a rebellion happening. It's a great issue. Robert Kirkman has not lost it. He's already announced that there is an end in sight. So this is all leading up to a final culmination. Great show, great comic book, number 188. Check it out for the week. All right. Next up, we have from Marvel Comics, Wolverine, The Long Night. Now, this one is issue number 2. Issue number 1 was very, very low on Wolverine. And this one is also very low on Wolverine. Wolverine is not in it for very much. He's in it only really for a few panels, mostly in flashback. Only at the very, very end does he get Wolverine actually meeting our main protagonists, who are basically a couple of federal agents, or so we think, who are working with this deputy, this kind of a backwater rube deputy. This is all happening in Alaska. Logan may have stumbled upon something he maybe shouldn't have. He was trying to get away from it all. It's still a lot of questions, still a lot of mystery. Great run. I like it, so I support it. All right. Number 2 for the week, we have an interesting one. We have a one-shot from Marv Wolfman called Man and Superman from DC. Now, Marv Wolfman, if you don't know that name, he's been around comic books for quite a while, for 20, 30 plus years. And in that time, what's happened is that he's worked with the new Teen Titans. He's worked with numerous titles. And this is his take on Superman and the origin story. His take on what's going to happen with the Man of Steel on his rise from Kansas. It's, by his own admission, he thinks it's one of the best Superman stories he's ever written. I think it's a good one. I like it. It's number 2 for the week, but it's not number 1. Because number 1 for the week has to go to Justice League. Justice League number 17, written by, check this out, can you see this right here? Can you see this exactly who's written by? You see that? Scott freaking Snyder. Scott Snyder, one of the legends from Batman, is running wild. Him and Tom King are amazing. And Scott Snyder has in this issue the Martian Manhunter working with Lex Luthor. Now, the thing about this particular issue is that we have this whole backstory trying to figure out this little boy that Martian Manhunter knew when he was a child, and Lex Luthor needs to help in finding him. I'm not gonna spoil this one. You guys need to read this one. This was an amazing issue, an amazing ending. I had to read it 3 times, not because it was confusing. It was that freaking good. It's such a good. It's a good one shot. It's gonna be even better filling in from the Justice League annual issue, from the metal issues leading up to what they have planned forward. This thing is phenomenal. I couldn't recommend it more. So Justice League, check it out. All right. My classic comic review of the week is, well, we are now in February, and as many of you know, February is Black History Month. There's a comic book graphic novel which I wholeheartedly recommend. It is called March. Now, March Book 1. There are 3 books in total. And I'm not sure if you can see one of the names in there. You see that? John Lewis. Does that name sound familiar? That is Congressman John Lewis from Georgia, who marched with Dr. King. This is his story, March. It starts off as at the inauguration of President Obama, and the story is told in flashback about his fight for civil rights, going back to, well, basically from the most violent episodes to the lunch counter sit-ins, the organization of the students. If you haven't checked it out, it is an amazing book. If I may show you just a little bit of the artwork, you can see this is not some little cheap book. This is an amazing story. This needs to be read if you haven't read it. I'm actually incorporating this into my class lesson plans. It is such a good book. March by John Lewis. If I were to give it a rating, it'd be 5 out of 5, but this is just beyond rating. This is amazing. Alright guys, last thing for the week that I got. I got one toy this week. I didn't get much, but I want to connect this toy to my childhood. What is this? Darkwing Duck. Yes, simple enough. Now, if you don't know who Darkwing Duck is, Darkwing Duck was a cartoon that was part of the Channel 9 after-school lineup, Disney owned. It was a spin-off of DuckTales, where Launchpad McQuack decided to start a new life, and in this new city, he found a vigilante superhero. This was Disney's answer to Batman. Not Batman, but again, Batman adjacent. Darkwing Duck was this kind of Agent 99-esque character, but also had a lot of gadgets. He had a lot of money. It was clever. He had his own rogues gallery of villains. It's, of course, sort of going off the deep end toward the end, but what are you going to do? Anyway, this is a toy. Blast from my past. I loved it. I wanted to share it with you guys. That's what I got for this week. Alright guys, that's simply it. I got my top 5, classic comic, my toy. Next week, maybe we'll have a lot more. Let me know what you guys think. As you can tell, I'm still working on the lighting here. I'm still working on the organizing. Any suggestions down below, please like, subscribe, hit that bell, ding. As usual, I'll see you next week. Thanks guys.